Namaste, I'm Caren, and that down there is my little dog Willow. And this Vinyasa yoga practice is really meant to help you move through something that might feel stuck right now, whether that's mentally, emotionally, physically in your body. It's all too easy with the busyness of our lives to not take time and slow down and get out of those routines and those ruts that seem to propel us forward into more routines and more ruts. I invite you to start standing as I am at the top of your mat. Okay, Willow, go lie down. We'll hope that you stay out of the video today, but I don't know, there might be some surprises. Come with your feet hip distance apart and spread your palms forward. Lengthen up through the crown and descend slightly through your tailbone. And feel that slight descension of the tailbone encourage a lift of the thighs. Now dive deeply into the soles of your feet. So bring your awareness there and lift each toe off of the ground. Feel the soles begin to lift from the arches and keep that energetic lift, but set your toes wide apart down to the mat. And with that connection, that tether into the earth, inhale and rise your arms overhead. Reach wide and tall through each fingertip. And exhale, hands through heart, bend your knees and fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale to a half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, hands to the shins. Lift up from the low belly and lift up from the back body so completely that you feel the hip bones press backward as the crown shoots forward. Continue to breathe here and allow the anchoring of your feet to remain steady into the ground. Next, exhale, fold over your legs. Plant through your hands and step your legs back into a plank position. Spread your hands wide down to the mat and lift your heels over your toes. So instead of pressing them backward to the back of the mat, lift a little bit of that energy of the soles of the feet forward. Now squeeze up through the inner thighs, lift up from the low belly. Take one more breath in here. And breathe out, bend into the knees, slide your hip bones toward the ceiling into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And keep the knees bent to establish length in your arms, softness in your neck. Now begin to pedal back and forth through the feet. Straighten through one leg and let the other knee dive inward toward your chest. And then exhale and do the same thing, switching out to the other side. One heel down, one knee forward. Do this a couple times. Just walking out your dog. Finding some length through the calves. Keep the breath steady and even. And the next time that you switch, begin to lengthen now through both legs. Send the heels down, lift through the kneecaps, thigh bones root back. One more big breath in downward facing dog. And breathe it out. Look forward, roll the body forward back into high plank. And lower, knees to touch the mat, elbows bend in by your sides, lift your low belly, and then flatten the tops of the feet and lower the rest of the way with the upper body toward the ground. Now as you arrive, bring the hands back by your side, squeeze the elbows together, forehead touches the mat to start. Inhale into Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Strengthen through the hands, lift up from the belly so the breath gets nice and deep and squeeze into the back muscles. Now exhale and flow yourself just as slowly back down to the floor. 2 more times, little weight into the hands, squeeze into the muscles of the shoulders. Hug them inward toward one another. Exhale and lower. One more time, reach back through your feet as you rise forward with your chest. And slowly lower back down to the mat. Now press into the knees, curl the toes, and begin to feel the lift of the low belly and the pelvis off of the mat. It's your choice whether to stay here on your knees or lift your knees and exhale the rest of the way with the upper body all the way up into high plank to downward facing dog. One big breath in. Breathe it all out. Empty the breath entirely, then hop or step to the top of your mat toward your hands. Inhale to half lift, gathering the breath deep into the belly. And exhale to fold. Then inhale and rise. Reach your arms overhead. Stamp into your feet. Find that purposeful tethering of your feet to the mat. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand and exhale, side bend to the right, making a C curve or a half moon shape with your body. Energize into both feet and allow the shoulders to roll down the back and the right shoulder to come forward slightly as you bend to the right. Inhale and lift up to center. Switch out your grip. Hold on to your right wrist with your left hand. Exhale and side bend to the left. Roll the shoulders down the back. Lift up a little bit from the front of your pelvis toward your navel so that your tailbone descends as you hinge over to the side. Inhale and lift back up to the center space. And this time, bring your arms around behind you. Interlace through the fingers at the sacrum. Squeeze the elbows in toward one another. Keep the knees softly bent and open the wrists wide apart. Now drive the hands down on an exhale and lift the heart toward the ceiling. Spacious breath. Let it arrive in your belly and come all the way up to fill the upper lungs, pooling into the throat before you exhale it all out. One more breath in here through this chest expansion. And as you exhale, bend into your knees. Send your arms overhead as you fold down over your legs. Let your head go heavy. And still find a generous lift of your arches so that the backs of your legs get completely active all the way down from the calves to the hamstrings, toward the low back space. Now inhale to prepare for movement, and exhale, bend the right knee. Take the right shoulder down to meet it or close to it as you twist open to the left. One breath in, and breathe out, return back to center, straightening through the knee. Inhale, and exhale, left knee bends. Left shoulder down to meet it, a little slight twist over to the right. One breath in. And exhale, return back to center. Now let's match the breath to the movement. One breath, one movement. Inhale. Exhale, bend the right knee, right shoulder down. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left knee, left shoulder down. Inhale back to center. Do this a couple more times at your own pace, allowing the upper body to rotate, keeping the elbows slightly bent even if you can extend them all the way long, and allowing the crown to drip down toward the mat so the chin is coming in toward the chest. After your next pass at the left knee, come back in towards center, and finally release your hands toward the sacrum, release the fingers, and send the arms back down to the ground. Loosen entirely through the shoulders, maybe roll them out as you fold over your legs. Inhale to a half lift. And exhale, plant the hands. Step the right leg back into a low lunge. Separate your feet hip distance apart, widthwise across your mat. And frame your front foot with your fingertips. So there's very little weight with your upper body and all of the weight coming into the legs to hold you. Find one more breath in here, just lengthening through the inseam of the legs. And one more breath out. And now drop the back heel so that the foot comes parallel to the back edge of the mat. Arrange the feet heel to heel alignment or heel to the middle of the back foot, front heel to the middle of the back foot. And inhale, rise through your arms into Warrior Two. As you extend your arms long, dive deeply into the front thigh, wall reaching into the outer edge of the back foot, and then soften the shoulders down the back. Breathe in and out, nice and easy, just feeling the strength of the legs arrive and hold you. Perhaps gaze over the front fingers. Allow this sense of energy to build in the legs and a sense of steadiness to arrive with your breath, loosening anything that might be stuck. Now inhale and straighten through the front leg. Into triangle, we will send the hips back behind you, load the front femur bone deep into the hip socket, and then allow the arms to reach forward until you no longer can, and extend the arm up and down straight out of the shoulder space. Soften through your head and neck, and send the top ribs inward to meet the bottom ones. Find expansive breath here as you lean into the back of your heart, and find that same sense of stability through the soles of your feet, that little energetic lift of the toes to connect deeply into the ground. Find one more breath in. And breath out, lower your top arm down to meet the ground. Turn back into your low lunge shape. Now plant your hands and step forward to the top of your space. And as you fold, just notice what has arrived, the difference between right and left. Inhale to half lift. And exhale, plant the hands. This time, step the left leg back into a low lunge. Hang out here for a couple breaths, encouraging the right hip back and the left heel high. Hug gently all of the muscles in toward the bones and elongate through the neck, soften through the upper back. Now tap the back heel down, preparing for warrior two. Arrange through the feet, and inhale, lift the arms up. Readjust into your stance as necessary, feeling the depth that can come through the breath in this pose. And so any sense of stuckness that might be here in the legs, allow it to be. And encourage deeper breath to move some freedom into the legs and freedom into the reach of the arms, knowing that you can always rise above the stuckness if you practice, if you intend to move that energy. Perhaps gaze over the front fingers and enjoy your strength. On your inhale, straighten gently through the front leg. Keep a slight bend in that knee. Kick your hips backward behind you. Reach forward out of your torso. And then let the arms drape down and up into Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Melt the ribs that are up toward the ceiling in toward your body. Roll the shoulders onto the back. And let your head exist wherever it feels comfortable. So the gaze does not have to be up at the top fingers. It could just be straight forward or down toward the floor. Connect back in with the stability of your feet and stretch long out of your side bodies. Find one more breath in here. And breathe it out, release your hands. Frame your front foot, heel toe, that right foot out to the right, one more time into your low lunge shape. And now take your hands to the inside of that right foot and walk the right foot even more out to the side, flaring the toes out 45 degrees. Set your left knee down to the ground and release the back foot. Into Uttanapristhasana, lizard. Lower into the elbows as it feels comfortable for you. So you might just stay if you're feeling it in your hips, and you might lower down to your forearms. As you greet the stuckness, know that there is still freedom for breath to move in the belly. So soften through your heart. Come fully into the feeling of breath moving within you and around you. Inhale and walk your hands back toward you, planting into the palms. Heel toe your right foot inward and straighten through that front leg. Walk your hands back into Ardha Hanumanasana. Allow your hips to rise above the back knee. Press forward into your right big toe mound and pinky toe mound toward the ground. Lengthen up into that familiar half lift shape. Draw the shoulders onto the back and then fold over the leg just as much as it feels comfortable, using your hands for support. On your next breath in, rock forward into your low lunge shape. Plant your hands and lift your left knee. You have two options. You can jump step or just step the right foot back and the left foot forward. And then plant your hands to the inside of that left foot and drop the right knee down. Release the toes. The left foot turns out 45 degrees, stacking the knee above the ankle, hands down to the mat. And if you'd like to move farther into lizard, now's the time, bending into the elbows and seeing what's available to descend your torso toward the ground. Explore the movement of breath here. How big can you breathe? And let whatever feeling of tension or tightness just be here with you without wanting to change it, just holding space for it to change on its own and in its own time. It can be difficult to break through the stagnancy that arrives in our minds, our hearts, and our bodies, because it's been hanging out for a while. So invite in patience and compassion for the process of letting go. It will move through if you dedicate and offer time to allowing it to move through. Now inhale and lift back to your palms. Rise through the torso. Heel toe the left foot back in and begin to sit back over top of your back knee for Ardha Hanumanasana into half splits. Support yourself with your arms and press forward into the left big toe and pinky toe mound, letting all of the toes be nice and bright and stretched. And as you inhale and reach out of your low back, tug your left hip backwards slightly, and then exhale and fold. Inhale and rock yourself forward back into your low lunge shape. Plant your hands and step back all the way to a high plank position. Send your hips high to downward facing dog. And as you reach your thigh bones back and plug all of your fingertips and knuckles into the ground, notice the space you've created in the roots of your body, your legs. Enjoy this space with one more generous breath into the whole abdomen, the lungs, the throat. Exhale and empty it all out as you bend the knees down to touch the mat. Bring the big toes to touch and seat yourself into Balasana, child's pose. Truly give your whole physical body over to the ground so that there's no holding on. Move your palms together to touch into Anjali Mudra. Bend at the elbows and send the hands up toward the ceiling Walk the elbows a little bit more forward onto the mat. Sink the heaviness of the back body in toward the front body, perhaps taking the hands toward the nape of the neck for more sensation in your upper arms. In this space, offer an intention or a prayer that the stuckness you're experiencing right now will no longer be stuck. Thank it for its teaching and give it permission to go so that you may open up to something new. Release your palms back down to the mat. And inhale, lift yourself up into a tabletop. Come to have a seat on the ground. And as you arrive in that seat, any seat will do, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Again, return your hands to heart center. Perhaps close your eyes. And tune in deeply to the feeling in the hips. This asana practice, as you may have noticed, was focused on the lower body. Because it's here that we hold on for dear life to things that perhaps no longer serve us, but just because we're used to them. And there's comfort in that. If you feel any sense of freedom or lightness here, know that you've already begun the work. You've begun the work in the body and in the mind. And you've even gone beyond yourself and asked for help. So keep going. Keep going. And before you know it, you'll be beyond whatever's holding you back. Drop your chin in toward your chest to acknowledge your true spirit. I deeply honor your light. Namaste. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and if you enjoyed it, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more yoga and meditation videos to help you live in your heart and not in your head. Thanks for your presence, and I'll see you next time.